Today is February 11th. The time is now 5 o'clock, and the Montgomery County Board meeting is adjourned. I'm sorry. We were talking over here. We're gonna. I'm ending before I'm beginning. It is being called to order. At this time, we'll have the invocation by Mr. Brandon Blockton, and Mr. Blockton is a student of Dr. Lisa Key. So welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Firstly, I want to thank you, Madam President, Vice President, and board members, and you, Superintendent Wilson, for having me this evening. My name is Reverend Brandon Blockton. I am the Assistant Minister at the Jackson Street Missionary Baptist Church here in Montgomery, Alabama, right over at 430 South Jackson Street. I will be coming to you with a familiar passage of Scripture, which is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. It says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." I simply want to leave you with just these words, that we must continue to train our children. We must remember that our children are our future, and it's very important that we make the future better for our future. We must make sure we put plans and programs in place so that the future is made in a way that our children can continue on from where we left off and take things and go higher. We must make sure that we continue to inspire our children. It is our jobs as educators, it is our jobs as principals and teachers, counselors and advisors to continue to train our children and keep them and rear them in the way that they are supposed to go. We must make sure that they are where they're supposed to be. We must make sure that they have everything in their heads. They have all the tools and the materials that they need in order to continue to be successful young men and women. I say this often, that we cannot settle for rappers, and we can't settle for football players and basketball players anymore, but we need teachers, we need doctors, we need physicians, we need architects, we need all of these people. And what better way than to have that, but then to pour into our children? Let us pray. Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you for your mercy and we thank you for your grace. Father, we thank you for giving us what we need to give our children. Father, we're praying that you will continue to instill into us as we instill and pour into the children, as we continue to pour into the next generation. Lord, we're asking that you will get in our minds and in our bodies and get in our heads, and that you will give us the right things to say and give us the right tools so that we are able to make your children great and help them to become successful young men and young women. Father, we thank you for your grace again. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your kindness that stretches throughout all generations. We love you because you loved us first. And we pray this all in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Blockton, and I hope all ears have heard. At this time, we ask that you please stand with the board for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we will establish a quorum, and looking around, all are present and accounted for. Our next agenda item is to approve the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam President, I motion that we approve the agenda.
There's a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
I second it.
All those in favor do so by showing of hands. It is unanimous. Our next agenda item will be President's remarks. For the past 2 weeks, we have been engaging with the community through focus groups so that we, as a community, can build a profile of an educational leader that will be a creative and innovative leader who will humbly serve our students and be a leader to grow other leaders. We conducted numerous focus groups so the community could express themselves freely and astutely. Although our groups were small at times, their voices were mighty. As a board, I believe if we pay attention to the voices that are expressed in the leadership profile, we will find a candidate that will come with the passion that the community says they need and our students deserve. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for offering their voice and pivoting with us from time to time, and their support and just being a partner with MPS. Thank you to elected officials for offering your voices during the process. Thank you, students, for being so willing to be the voice that we oftentimes don't hear, but is the most needed. And thank you, parents, for being open and honest and lending your voice and setting expectations for this board. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to the MPS security men and women. Thank you for being in every space and place with us. Thank you for all your kind words and a lot of laughter. It is nice to know how much you care about our children and our community. The love and dedication you show in keeping our schools as safe spaces, and as well as our staff, should never go unnoticed or unappreciated. So thank you for being family. Thank you to the technology crew. I came out and learned a lot about technology in one night. I feel like I can solve up a lot of problems in the world now. As I close out my remarks, I want to leave you with a quote from Fannie Lou Hamer. Never forget where you came from and always praise the bridge that carried us over. Board members, remember, we must never lose our voices for our children, and happy Black History Month. Our next agenda item will be brought to us by Jay Jones for recognitions.
Good evening, Madam President, Ms. Wilson, and board members. The month of February is filled with all sorts of celebrations, from Black History Month to Career Tech Education Month. MPS is buzzing with so many amazing things. Now, tonight we want to give a huge shout out to our middle school robotics students that participated in competitions at Maxwell Air Force Base and Honda Manufacturing Motors of Alabama. Having both Maxwell and HMMA as dedicated partners in education allows our students to soar in their passion for robotics. At the competition held at HMMA, the following awards were presented. The Teamwork Champion Award went to Floyd Middle School and Carr Middle. Let's give them a round of applause. The Design Award went to McKee Middle. The Robotics Skills Award went to Brubaker Middle. And the Judges Award went to Carr Middle and Floyd Middle. And also, Carr Middle and Floyd will go on to compete at the Alabama VEX IQ Region Championship at Auburn University at the end of this month. And McKee Middle will compete at the Regional Championship that will be held at Wallace Community College on March 1st. So let's celebrate our middle school students. And next up, we're thrilled to share the celebration of Career Tech Education Month. Our CTE division is led by the lovely Dr. LaTanya Sibley, and she and her team are doing amazing things when it comes to CTE. We're incredibly proud of our students and their achievements. She shared that just last week, students in the Jobs for Alabama CTE program at Impact earned first place in the employability skills and project-based learning, and second place in business plan and knowledge bowl at the regional competition, beating out over 20 counties. And at JAG High School, one of the business IT students became the top neuron earner in the state of Alabama. The students are talented, as we know, hardworking and determined, and they deserve a round of applause as well. Also, Dr. Sibley and her team as well. All righty, moving on to Most Improved Schools. We'll now take a moment to congratulate Danley and Martin Luther King Elementary Schools for recently being recognized as two of the Alabama's most improved schools. Both schools are doing amazing things, and we're so proud of them as well. And last but not least, I would like to call up Mrs. Copeland and Mrs. Gemma Lee to the podium. Madam President, board members, Ms. Wilson, it is my honor and pleasure to announce tonight that Ms. Gemma Lee has been named the Alabama World Language Association Teacher of the Year. Ms. Lee is a proud educator at Baldwin Middle and serves as the Korean Education Specialist. She is moving forward in the national competition representing Alabama for the National Teacher of the Year recognition. So let's give her a round of applause. Ms. Lee, we would like to present you with this certificate. We're so honored to give you that. And would you like to share a few words? Yeah, come on.
Hello, everyone. I've been teaching at Baldwin Middle School and Forest Avenue Elementary School since last fall. It's been a great time teaching children Korean and culture, and I'm very honored to be recognized this award. And I'm going to try more harder to be inspired teacher and for the MPS students. Thank you very much.
We'll have Ms. Copeland say a few words.
I just want to very quickly say Ms. Lee came in, and when I say she hit the ground running, that is an understatement. The kids absolutely love her class. They have the most amazing time. They are super engaged. Anything that you need, she will do. I just could not be more excited that she is here with us. I am so glad that she's representing our school and our school district. She is just what is right in education. She's absolutely amazing.
Madam President, can we all have you all come down for a photo with Ms. Lee? Oh, yeah, if you want to come up. You wanted to come up? Yeah, step on the podium. There you go.
There are great things happening in MPS, and these are the things we like to see and hear. And for our community to know that these things do happen in MPS. At this time, we are at scheduled public comments, so I will read the rules and procedures for public participation in the board meeting. Requests must be made in advance in writing to the superintendent's office by 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday preceding the meeting date. Requests must have specified the nature of the business to be taken up with the board and the name of the person who will address the board to be added to the agenda. Communications must be respectful. Discussing specific student or employee matters will not be allowed. Individuals who have concerns that are inappropriate to be solved in this venue are welcome to speak to a problem, are welcome to seek a problem-solving meeting with the superintendent. Immediate feedback by the board may not be provided. However, you may be contacted by or for a follow-up by the superintendent or designee. Public comments may not exceed 3 minutes. The board chairman has full authority to terminate the remarks of any persons whose comments contain personal attacks, exceed the time limit, or are otherwise inappropriate. A speaker may be considered disruptive who continues to speak when their allotted time has ended, when asked to stop speaking by the board chairman, or is otherwise inappropriate. If a person fails to comply when asked to terminate comments, he or she will be escorted to their seat, out of the auditorium, and/or off MPS's property, depending on the level of disruption. At this time, we will have Ms. Jean Charbonneau.
I mean, perfect pronunciation. Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. As introduced, I am Jean Charbonneau, currently serving as president of the FAME board. We support, as you know, the creative and academic pursuits of the students, teachers, and administrators at Booker T. Washington Magnet High School. At your January meeting, I presented a proposal to dedicate and name the currently unnamed chapel on the BTW campus, the Carter Stark Center, recommending the building be named in honor of two extraordinary and dedicated educators who devoted their respective careers to BTW, CPAC, and Montgomery. Tonight's remarks are not intended to be a repeat of last month. I do realize that this topic is on the agenda for the work session that will follow this meeting, and I appreciate your indulgence in letting me briefly speak to the topic again. I also fully understand the provisions of MPS Policy 4.08, which requires an opportunity for comments and recommendations from citizens, board members, and school personnel. If a public comment period is required, in addition to the public work session discussion, we are eager to be a part of the team to be sure that the process is completed correctly. We look forward to participating and ask only that the avenues for public comment be clear and easily accessible. We, the FAME board, are also prepared to meet another provision of that policy letter, i.e. agreeing to, indeed committing to, providing appropriate recognition, such as a plaque, portrait, or marker for the building or school. FAME will fund what we are asking you to approve. This is how strongly we feel about recognizing these two legacy leaders without whom BTW would not be what it is today. A stellar place of learning, creativity, and cooperation, creating much needed, innovative leaders for the future. I have a letter of commitment with me today, and I will email it to you so that our commitment is a matter of record. If other names are proposed, I would ask you to carefully consider and compare the decades of service to this singular institution of learning offered by Drs. Cheryl G. Carter and Quasia Starks. Naming the chapel the Carter Stark Center truly honors their combined 70-plus years of service and often sacrifice to both the students of BTW and the greater Montgomery community. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Next, under scheduled public comments, we have Dr. Robert White.
Good evening to the president, to interim superintendent, to the school board. I want to say thank you for allowing me to talk. And what I want to do is I want to invite you all and others to a celebration that we're having at the Montgomery Interpretive Center regarding the 60th anniversary of the Selma to Montgomery March. We have amassed several historians, researchers, foot soldiers, and interested persons to give presentations on a daily basis throughout the last week of February. And that Tuesday on February the 25th, we're going to be meeting at the Montgomery Interpretive Center. Board member Doremus Coleman gave greetings last year at our meeting, and she can attest to the awesome time that we have. But we want to encourage the school board to come and to ask other educators and administrators and interested persons to come too, because you'll get history and information that you typically would not get. And I will say that we have some of the best educators, some of the best researchers in what we now call black belt history that you're going to have in the country. So we've written books on the subject. We do teach-ins on the subject. We have developed a new technology that we're also going to reveal on storytelling. And I just wanted to come to invite you. And I have flyers here that I'll leave for Madam Superintendent and for the school board. So you can take a look. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next, we have on the agenda, and if you would, Ms. Leslie, we have on the agenda citizen comments. There are no citizen comments. At this time, our next agenda item is executive session. The board will go into an executive session to discuss student grievance. We should be in executive session approximately, how long? 30 minutes. During the executive session, no votes will be taken. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Madam President, I move that we go into executive session to discuss the student grievance.
Is there a second?
I second.
And the motion has been made and second. Is there any discussion? No. Hearing none, at this time, if you will, yeah, that's what I'm about to do, I'm sorry. No, at this time, by a show of hands, based on going into executive session, if you are in favor of going into executive session, will you do so by a show of hands? It is unanimous.
So the robotics program for Montgomery Public Schools started as a grant through Hyundai, and we are from under the grant now. This is our second year being funded through the school district, but they continue to be our partner and help sponsor the event along with Auburn SCORE. So we have robotics teams at 8 of the middle schools here in Montgomery, and today they're coming together to compete against each other in the district. And if they win today, they'll be going to state, which we hosted in Auburn at the end of the month.
I think that this is a great opportunity for us to skill build and also get students working with technology. We obviously know that in the industries that they'll be working for will be all about collaboration and technology. And so it's fun to watch our students as they collaborate together. They get roles, so you'll have team leaders, coders, drivers, and then the critical thinking skills, being able to adjust and make decisions on the dime. Those are all really, really important skills that students need to be successful, but also great experiences for life.
So a lot of things that me and my team did to prepare for today We practiced it with our other team that we're in alliance with. We all did game strategies and stuff. And we had worked on the robot, like different problems that we were having. We had made sure that we fixed them before we came to class. My favorite part about being on my school's robotics team is means that like I can represent them in many different ways for robotics.
High school. Reimagine. This program offers Montgomery Public School students an opportunity for academic advancement at an accelerated rate. In partnership with Trenton State Community College, MPS students can now take advantage of the opportunity to earn a high school diploma and an associate's degree. Register as a cohort, participating students are duly enrolled and yep, you guessed it, have access to twice as many resources to achieve success, which include academic support, facilities, and expertise, doubling their opportunities to thrive socially, academically, and professionally as they prepare for their future.
Montgomery Public Schools Early College. Dual diplomas, fulfilling futures.
This is her forte, this is her field, this is her love, and she has just rocked it. And we could not be more proud of Ms. Norris and the job she's doing.
I'm the interim superintendent, Miss Wilson, and I am here because your teacher, Mrs. Norris, is our Teacher of the Year. Out of all of our teachers in Montgomery, we have chosen your teacher, Mrs. Norris, to represent all of our teachers as the Teacher of the Year. So we are so excited. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is so cool. I really appreciate this. Okay, this is amazing. Thank you so much. You're welcome. And we did that because of all of your innovation. When we look for Teachers of the Year, we look for teachers that create innovative experiences for our students, not only in the classroom, but are also examples for other teachers and leaders. And so you are that this year.
But I really appreciate this. I love this job. I love what I do. These kids are amazing. I have high expectations for them, and I think they know that. But at the end of the day, they're some of my favorite kids, and they do incredible things. They make this job amazing.
She was my third grade teacher, actually, and she's been one of my favorite teachers ever. She's always so fun. She's never sad. She's always like happy and smiling, and she does such fun stuff with us. She's just the best.
We love you very, very much, Ms. Norris.
Congratulations.
September is National Attendance Awareness Month. We want to share with you some important facts. The state of Alabama requires all children between the ages of 6 through 17 to attend school.
Parents, you are required to submit an excuse each time your child is absent. Be mindful that MPS does not accept excuses via fax or email. Also, parental excuses are limited to 8 days. Finally, if your child has a chronic illness, please submit a chronic illness letter from the physician. For additional information, please contact your child's school.
Track your child's academic progress and school attendance by logging into PowerSchool. Please make sure you have current contact information on file and respond to your school messages.
If you have any questions or concerns, please refer to your 2024-2025 school handbook. Feel free to call the Office of Student Support Services at 334-223-6850.
Attendance matters. Every day counts with MPS.
Good afternoon. We're just so excited to host Dr. Mackey and his team. I've had a chance to connect with Mr. Wobbles, who is the Director of Department of Agriculture. And it's just really good for us to be able to partner with Sweet Grown Alabama. Our students thrive off of healthy living habits. And so we want to make sure that we stay engaged with Sweet Grown Alabama to ensure that our students have healthy eating habits.
National School Lunch Week started with John F. Kennedy in the 1960s, and it was brought about to bring awareness to everything that the Child Nutrition Program does. Nationwide, we serve over 30 million students, and we just wanted to bring our initiative Farm to School, kick it off and start off with doing that in our district for this week. It started with a phone call from the Department of Agriculture. They wanted to increase farm to school activities in our district, and they selected us to do a test run and hopefully do it in the future.
And today, you know, we're featuring Alabama grown products throughout Montgomery County at the Montgomery County Schools. So there's over 18,000 pounds of food today that will be served in the cafeterias in Montgomery County that came directly from Alabama farmers.
You know, one of the most important things we can do is help make sure our students are healthy. And being healthy means eating healthy. We want students to know where their food comes from. We're fortunate that in Alabama, agriculture is actually our #1 industry. Brings in more money to our state's coffers than anything else. And so students need to understand that this food comes from Alabama. Certainly we have food that's shipped in also, but it's all grown by farmers here in the United States. And
with the cafeteria, our students come together and they eat at the table. Parents are so busy now, and to have students experience family in the cafeteria, but not only experience family, but to have farm to school products.
Ooh, the perfect school lunch. Well, you know, you definitely in every meal you gotta have a good staple, so a good meat. So I'ma definitely go with some chicken, some grilled chicken, some seared or sauteed chicken, probably with mashed potatoes, some bell peppers, some fresh fruit, and not milk, but probably juice or water. But milk works too, because you need milk.
Thank you for your patience. The board will need an additional 20 minutes.
First cosmetology and barbering program in Montgomery Public Schools, JAG High School.
Students in the cosmetology and barbering program are earning industry-based certificates as well as getting hands-on experience that will prepare them to go into the workforce.
If somebody goes to the program, I predict that I should be able to master each barbering lesson. You know, no matter how long you've been cutting hair, you don't master everything. You always keep learning, and I'm okay with that.
Man, it's a great excitement. I remember the idea came up a couple years ago, and just to see it come into fruition, just give our young people hope, is just great, man. It is great. I'm proud of MPS and the steps that they took forward to make this happen, and I'm looking forward to the expansion.
To do this in high school, it's an opportunity that is honestly benefiting because they get to start at an early age. They get to experience what this is like.
My favorite part about the program is the teachers. The teachers did care. Most teachers, they don't necessarily care, but our teachers at JAG High School, they care, and they're gonna let you know what's going on. After high school, I plan on going to college in Tuskegee for electrical engineering. So after my electrical engineering degree, I will also have a that continues in barbershops in Montgomery, Alabama.
Students will get worldwide hands-on experience. When they get enough hours to get to the salon, we will place them in the salon to work.
I am extremely excited. Bringing back what we used to call the trades, but helping our students to move toward careers and entrepreneurship is just an excellent positive step in the right direction.
I would tell the students and encourage them to stay focused, literally learn everything that you can. It's not a joke, because once you step into the real life, that is where the true life begins.
Started out as a classroom teacher, and I became a reading coach and assistant principal, and I really liked being able to work with my small groups of students, 20 students, 25 students in the classroom. But I wanted to be able to work with every student in the building. I wanted to make connections with the parents, I wanted to make connections with stakeholders, and I really wanted to have a bigger influence than just in a classroom. One initiative that I did have was to increase enrollment. And in August of last year, when I started, we had 107 students. And this year, we have, right now, we have 170. And so we are working our way towards that goal. And I really want to have opportunities for these students in the rural areas that they wouldn't necessarily otherwise have access to. So bringing STEM initiatives in, really focusing on that technology piece. We've done things like career fairs where they have been exposed to different careers that they don't necessarily know even exist, but just allowing these students to have the same opportunities. So one of my fondest memories so far is we did a PBIS incentive where the students with A conduct were entered into a drawing to pie me in the face. And a 5th grader won, and she made it count. I'm talking my feet came off the floor, she got me good. So that is definitely one of my favorite memories. The staff here is one of a kind. We have the best teachers, the best coaches. When you walk in the front office, you're going to be greeted with a smile and welcome to Pentlala. Every faculty and staff member really works way beyond their expectations to make sure that they are doing what their students need and helping students outside of the classroom. I couldn't ask for a better staff, and I am so, so proud to be their principal. We may be small, but we are mighty. We work really hard every single day to do what is best for our students and to really make this community proud. And I am just very excited for the things that we have already put in place, and I'm very excited for the things to come. Started out as a classroom teacher, and I became a reading coach and assistant principal, and I really liked being able to work with my small groups of students, 20 students, 25 students in the classroom. But I wanted to be able to work with every student in the building. I wanted to make connections with the parents, I wanted to make connections with stakeholders, and I really wanted to have a bigger influence than just in a classroom. One initiative that I did have was to increase enrollment. And in August of last year when I started, we had 107 students. And this year we have, right now we have 170. And so we are working our way towards that goal. And I really want to have opportunities for these students in the rural areas that they wouldn't necessarily otherwise have access to. So bringing STEM initiatives in, really focusing on that technology piece. We've done things like career fairs where they have been exposed to different careers that they don't necessarily know even exist, but just allowing these students to have the same opportunities. So one of my fondest memories so far is we did a PBIS incentive where the students with A conduct were entered into a drawing to pie me in the face. And a 5th grader won, and she made it count. I'm talking my feet came off the floor, she got me good. So that is definitely one of my favorite memories. The staff here is one of a kind. We have the best teachers, the best coaches. When you walk in the front office, you're going to be greeted with a smile and welcome to Pentlala. Every faculty and staff member really works way beyond their expectations to make sure that they are doing what their students need and helping students outside of the classroom. I couldn't ask for a better staff, and I am so proud to be their principal. We may be small, but we are mighty. We work really hard every single day to do what is best for our students and to really make this community proud. And I am just very excited for the things that we have already put in place, and I'm very excited for the things to come.
Professionally, I want to be able to feel that we are all on the same page, and that we've created an environment that people want to be here. I want to be competitive. There's a Cliff's strengths that you take to determine like what's your number one strength, and mine is competitiveness. And so I try to use that to my advantage in my leadership. But we want to be the best. I want people to say, hey, I want to work at MPS, or hey, what's going on over there? Can we call them and see how they did this? Or, how did this building excel so well? And what's that leader over there doing? So that is my goal, to be number one. So I think number one, and probably Dr. King would agree, that we want to make sure our principals are able to plan, lead, model all things instruction. And so that includes being able to be in classrooms, offering support for teachers, determining the needs for students, and then being able to look at their data and decide as a leader what's best for their students. We have the babies from 8 to 3, and we need parent support during that time. And we know that they're working and that they might not be able to be physically there, but we can't, it takes a village. And so we can't move forward and really excel students if our parents aren't active. And that could be from reading what we send home, to responding to different surveys, to calling if they have questions, to coming to teacher conferences. Those things matter. And also it matters to students. You see them shine a little bit more when their parents are involved. And so that is that is also a district-wide effort. So I don't want to say that lies in the house of the buildings from a central office level. It's important for us to also find ways for parents to be engaged.
We will now convene the regular board meeting. No votes were taken during the executive session. Our next agenda item will be the addendum of the HYA contract. Ladies of the board, each of you were sent several proposals for the an addendum, proposals for a CSFO search, and that is the most important search that we must have. After reviewing all proposals, HYA decided it would be a better fit, given that they're already working with our district on the on the superintendent search. So I just wanted to make you aware that we will be using HYA for this particular CSFO search. Are there any questions? All right, hearing none. Going to item number 10, Superintendent Leadership Profile, Dr. David Lee.
Had a wonderful 3 weeks or so here in your beautiful city of Montgomery. We've met a lot of people. We've talked to a lot of people. We got a great impression of the city that you represent and the district that you represent. And in our completion of this leadership profile, it's really, really been rewarding for us to see some wonderful things going on here. And I'll hit on those as we move into this PowerPoint in just a second. But I do want to thank you very much for the opportunity to do this. But we know that the school system is seeking a transformational leader. We know that. Someone who can build trust, someone who can improve student outcomes, can foster a culture of accountability and collaboration. That's been obvious from the get-go of what we're looking for. And I know that with the focus groups, we've gotten some great information, and we have used every bit of that information. We put it to use. It was transcribed, and we took everything everyone said and with sincerity, and we put it down. Some of our meetings were light, but that's nothing to be concerned about. In fact, sometimes that's an advantage because it means that people aren't upset about anything. That is good. So we see that all the time. That's not unusual. So don't take that as a disadvantage. Maybe they're satisfied with what they're doing. So with the profile report, I want to go over now the entire profile report, as you know, all of you, is this on your website. So, and I'm sure you've read it. I hope you found it interesting. It can be a roadmap in the future. It'd be interesting to try to duplicate that in a year and a half to see if the attitudes have changed in that profile report. It'd be very interesting to do that and see how that would work. So starting off, what we tried to do in collecting all this information, we wanted to see if there was a consensus. That's what we were looking for, a consensus of what people were looking for in the next leader for the Montgomery Public Schools. And we looked at, when we went through this, we went through your strategic plan. We did board interviews with all of you. We had individual interviews with people, focus groups all over the city, community meetings, and a stakeholder survey. We did all those to get the information that's on that leadership profile report. And in doing that, what we looked for and the questions that we were focusing on, because we had to ask similar questions to get a true picture of what we wanted. We asked them, of course, what do stakeholders value regarding the schools? What do they value most? What strengths do they desire to retain and build upon? Those strengths were very, very important. And then what are the issues the district currently faces and will face in the next 3 to 5 years? very important for recruiting a candidate to come to your system, because these are crucial questions, because they want to know what are the crucial things that we'll be facing in the next 3 to 5 years, and then what personal and professional characteristics are expected in a superintendent. So those are some really good questions, and that's what we ask. And who did we ask? Goodness, students, teachers, administrators, community people, ministers, just everybody in the group. And one thing about it, and you can be proud of as a board, that you gave everyone an opportunity to express their opinion. You had those meetings, they were there for them, so everyone had an opportunity to express any concerns they have with the school system and in the selection of a new superintendent. And the survey addressed both the performance of the entire district and the desired characteristics that you are looking for in a new leader. So it addressed both of those issues. And in doing that, we went under the categories of vision and values. That's the leader's ability to provide a clear and compelling vision for the future. Someone that can paint a picture and engage people and get them excited about going and reaching that vision. Then we had the category of teaching and learning. That's the leader's ability to guide educational programs, make data-driven decisions, and implement effective instructional change. And the profile reports reflected these 4 particular issues, and that's where we wanted to get our information from. Then we have the community engagement component. Of course, that's the leader's ability to be the voice of the district and engage the community and involve stakeholders in realizing the district's vision and seeing that vision. And then the final one was management skills, leadership skills, their ability to guide the operations of the entire school district, manage resources well, recruit and retain highly effective personnel, and create an equitable accountability system for all the employees in the school system. Now, you had a lot of responses to that profile, almost 1,000 responses, and that's very, very good. The largest group of respondents, 40.7% of them, came from the parents of students in your school system. Good. That's very good. And in looking at this profile, parents were fairly satisfied with what was going on in the system. And that's good when parents are satisfied. Then the parents, 40.7% of the respondents out of the 991, 23.7% of the respondents, and the second highest were from the teachers and the licensed staff. Pretty good. Parents, teachers, and then the third highest, 16.8%, were community members in the survey. So that's the breakdown. Parents, number 1, teachers and licensed staff, number 2, and then the community members, number 3. From what we heard and what we developed, we always want to know what the strengths are of the districts, because that's what sells a candidate on coming. What are the strengths? And it kept coming back to us time after time. Number 1, technology is integrated into the classroom. And the whole profile, you'll see that the percentage of those in agreeing with that was rather high. So that's there. Montgomery Public Schools engages with diverse racial, cultural, and socioeconomic groups. That's the strength. That's the strength. Another one, the school's technology infrastructure is sufficient to support use of technology in the classroom. And that is extremely important, because this technology, as you well know, is a game changer. The school system is working to close the achievement gaps and the opportunity gaps for students. You've made progress with that, which is a great thing. And the schools also employs effective teachers, administrators, and support staff in its schools. So those are some positives right there. And believe me, you don't hear that every day. Those are very, very, very good things going on in the system. The top leadership profile characteristics that it appears, and which the data proves that the community, the school system employees, and everyone wants in a superintendent. They want someone to recruit, employ, and retain effective personnel throughout the Montgomery Public Schools. Be a good recruiter. Be a good recruiter. A system where people want to come. You know, there's a saying about leaders. They say leaders don't chase people, people chase leaders. So what you hope, we get a leader where people will chase them and get in here and want to come. That's what this whole thing is, what we're trying to accomplish. They want to establish a culture of high expectations for all students and personnel. It's pretty interesting in the profile report. As you look at it, the teachers felt like that their accountability level was rather high. They were being pushed for high performance, which that's always a good sign. They want the new leader to foster a positive professional climate of mutual trust and respect among faculty, staff, and administrators. To be visible. Oh, that's a common thread. You hear that. We heard that at every meeting we went to. Be visible throughout the schools and actively engaged in the community life. And provide transparent communication. Those are some great, great characteristics that your constituents feel like that your new leader needs to master and be able to do in the process. So we go over to the and the slides, and on the profile report, it talks about desired characteristics. And this is what we measured. Commitment to student achievement and equal opportunities for all students. We ask about that. We ask about visionary leadership and strategic planning. We ask about servant leadership and community engagement. I think I've left you with, let me flip this over where it was, okay. Visionary leadership and strategic planning. This servant leadership, again, and community engagement, and transparent leadership and ethical leadership. I've already mentioned those. You can, in the profile, you'll pick up rather quickly. The administrators of the district felt you were doing the best in these, which that's natural because they are in the district on a daily basis and they are getting the training, they're getting communication, and they fully understand everything that's going on in the system. And on the lower end is the community. The community always, their vote was the lowest versus the highest. The highest, the administrators voted everything higher, except on a couple occasions, and teachers voted it higher than the administrators. But without a doubt, usually the community voted it lower. So there is work to do there. There is, I mean, it jumps out at you that the community is not as fired up as the administrators in the system, which is normal because administrators that's their job. That's their job. They do that all the time. So this new leader somehow has got to close this gap. They've got to be able to close the gap and to get that community more engaged. It could be marketing. Maybe they don't know. The administrators and teachers know, but sometimes the community, it doesn't trickle down to them, and they don't understand it. So therefore, they'll vote lower. So that's the trend in all of it there. The community's vote is the lowest, the administrators are the highest, and the teachers are right next to them, and through the entire process. Okay, very, very, very interesting information in what it's revealing there. We certainly want to get your feedback on this profile report. It's essential that we do. We want it to be as complete and concise and as effective as it possibly can be. But what's in there is what we were told. And we put it down. That's what data does. It puts, it is what it is. And it's good, though. It's nothing to be concerned about. So, we ask for your feedback. After tonight, the leadership profile will be on it's on the district website already. It's already there. And then there will be a form on there, too, that you can add to that profile anytime that we can see. And see, the profile is good for us when we go out. We not only just advertise put it out there for people to apply for the superintendent of the Montgomery Public Schools. we recruit, we go out and we contact people that fit what you just heard here tonight, that fit this criteria. Someone that is community oriented, someone is transparent, someone that can build teams, that can build collaboration with employees and just get things and improve academic achievement. So that's who we're looking for. But this tells us who to find. Because sometimes, just say a district might, it shows up that they want someone who is great in the finances. So we know when we look for someone, that's someone we've got to find. But this tells us who we're looking for. This is general stuff. And I will tell you this, most of the districts in the country are looking for the same stuff that you see here tonight. That's what they want, just what you want. They want that leader who can come in and just make some huge differences in the process. So I guess the final version will come before the board on the 18th. Ms. Smith, do you plan for us to come back and on the profile or just accept it as is?
On February the 18th, we will vote on the final draft.
Excellent.
So,
okay, excellent. That will be good. And then certainly after that's done, the final version will be posted, and then that's going to be put on the application profile that every candidate will see. They haven't seen that. The only thing the candidates have seen up to this point is the initial profile or the initial statement we sent out outlining, talking about Montgomery and the school system and giving a general overview of that. That's what they have seen. They have not seen this or don't know anything about it. But we've been contacting applicants and they've been asking us about this, about what do they want in Montgomery? What are they looking for in a superintendent? And this certainly will be able to tell us that. But I will tell you, we have been very encouraged from what we've seen. And it's we see a board, we've interviewed all of you, all our team has, and we see a board that's passionate about students, about the progress of the school system, very passionate about that. We see that. We see a really vibrant community that's interested in the school system, wants the school system to do well, and they support it financially. They support it in all ways. Your financial resources, and because of the vibrance of your business community, your financial resources are good, and that's always a good thing too. That's a big plus for you. You've got university and colleges here. It's a big plus, big plus. So you've got a vibrant community. If you don't believe me, just try to get a hotel room downtown Montgomery. Just try it. I don't know where everybody's coming from. Anytime you try to get it, it's full. I don't know what the deal is, but that's telling you something good about your city. If you call down there and they said, "Oh yeah, just anytime when you want to show up," well, that would be a bad sign. But the financial resources are strong. The commitment is strong, and that's everything a superintendent can ask for. That's everything they can ask for. And the first question they ask us too is, "How is the board?" We always tell them the board is good. The board is a good board. And I can tell you, with the right superintendent that will meet all these things we talked about here tonight, and they are out there. They are out there. They can do it. If we get the right one, if you get the right one, with our pushing and encouraging them to apply and to come in, your system is poised for some really, really big things. I'm telling you. I deal with a lot of school boards and a lot of school systems across the country, and I'm telling you, your board, because of your commitment of the board members and the commitment of your community and your teachers and your administrators, it's built for wonderful things. I just envy the person that's coming in here because they can be, I'm telling you, this system can be a star. Already is, but it can be a bright star in the very near future with the right person. So if we can just find it, but your success will start right here in this room. This is where this success starts. Your expectations of this new leader. And so we'll be getting the slate, we'll be putting together some folks, and we'll be starting out, and I won't get into that, but I think, I know the public, what you think you're going to start with 5. I think that Dr. Joseph,
that is correct.
Kind of start with 5, and then you start with 5, and then you narrow it down to 3. And then you narrow it down to 2. And when we narrow it to 2, or when you narrow it to 2, it's when it's made public then. So that's when the information goes out. So everybody will know it once it gets down to the 2. Okay, are there any questions? Have I been thorough enough? I will go through the profile sheet the whole thing if you want to, but I know you've read it, you understand it, and it's on your website. But I did want to give you a general overview that the community has got to be brought up to speed. And that's the lowest end of it. Your administrators, your teachers, they understand it. But as always, they can be better. Any questions? Did that cover it okay? Okay?
I just have one comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. King.
Madam President, I just want to thank you for coming. I think you've been very thorough. I know you've got a 5-hour drive. And I think it was nice for you to bring your wife up here and let us meet your wife, who's a school teacher.
That's right.
And I just want you to drive safely.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Keith. I appreciate that. That's because we couldn't find a hotel room. No, I'm just joking.
I heard you couldn't.
But again, that's always a good sign. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. And let me just tell you, HYA, Dr. Lee, Dr. Joseph, Ms. Beals, Mr. Schaefer, Nancy. When I say this has been a very thorough process, they vetted everything, make sure we've covered everything. We thank Attorney Powell for, helping in this development and making sure these lines of communication stay open and wide. We just thank the community, everybody that helped, and we're excited. And that was good news to know that we're so busy in Montgomery, we don't have room for everybody.
That's a good point.
That's
exactly right.
But thank you, and you all have safe travels. Our next agenda item will be Dr. Kathleen Williamson will come and talk to us or present to us service animal policy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Board President, Ms. Wilson, board members. We are preparing to be supportive of our students with various needs. And we need to update our board policy so that we have something in place when our students need to have the use of a service animal. We have been advised, because that policy is continually shifting and growing, to keep it as broad as we can within our district so that our procedures and our application process mirrors what it needs to look like. So what we are recommending to you tonight is that we update our board policy to reflect that we as a district will follow all federal and state requirements regarding the use of service animals.
Are there any questions? Thank you, Dr. Williamson.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Ms. Jade Jones, proposed school calendar 2025, 2026, or Ms. Wilson?
Madam President, if you may, I'm going to go ahead with this part for Ms. Jones.
Okay.
So members of the board, Madam President, I'd like to take a moment to first thank the community on behalf of Ms. Jones for their valuable input on the 25-26 academic calendar. The feedback provided was split down the middle, with many agreeing with the current calendar as it aligns with our surrounding counties, and others asking for much later start date. So that was the survey results. We're looking at a later start date. Please keep in mind that MPS students are required to have 180 days of instruction. Our educators are required to have 187 work days. 7 of those are professional development days where students do not attend school. Surrounding counties calculate their school days differently, so some may account for extra days while their hours are counted and not by days. We typically consult with our surrounding counties and share our calendars with other schools that request them, because we understand families have different situations, and we take that into account when we create the calendar. Historically, we start early in August because MPS usually ends school right before Memorial Day, which I learned in a committee meeting that was very much appreciated from all community members when I suggested to go past that date. To stay aligned with the request to end school before Memorial Day, we're proposing MPS start classes on August 5th for students and ending May 20th for students. Teachers would start on 7:30 and end on May 21st. The calendar before you is what has been presented to stay aligned with our days, to get our professional development in, and also to adhere to the request to end school before Memorial Day.
Any questions? Hearing none, our next agenda item is the interim CSFO, Ms. Pamela Watkins, will present the December 2024 fiscal statement.
Good evening, Board President, Ms. Smith, Superintendent Wilson, and board members. You should have before you, I do want to apologize, I sent the wrong file earlier, so you should have before you now the December financials. December represents the end of the first quarter of the fiscal year. In the financials, you will find the explanation of financial data, which is the state of the financial condition of the school district. You'll have your snapshot analysis, which is a summary of the general fund and our local funds to date or through December. You also have the monthly budgeted percentages at December, because that's the end of the first quarter. Our expenditures should run about 25%. You have the monthly and annual comparative statement of revenues and expenditures. That would be a comparison of our current month-to-date expenditures compared to the same time during fiscal year 2024. So in that report, you'll see the actual month-to-date and the actual year-to-date as of December fiscal year 2024 compared to December fiscal year 2025. You also have the snapshot analysis, the statement of cash flow, which is our month-to-date revenues, the inflows and the outflows for December. You have the pie charts, which are a visual of that same information. And then you have the F exhibits, which represents the information that's uploaded to the State Department. I'm going to go to the explanation of financial data and just kind of highlight a couple of things. We still remain focused on supporting the high-quality educational services while upholding sound fiscal management procedures. A couple of things to note is that our fund balance compared to last year at the same period is about $1.2 million more than what it was last year. The one thing to keep in mind is that the revenues come in more so towards the December through March timeframe, and also those revenues are also budgeted or anticipated budgeted expenditures through end of the fiscal year 9/30. So what that means is that after March or after February, you'll see that our local revenues or our total revenues will start to level off as we get to the end of the fiscal year. Expenditures for fiscal year 2025 are slightly lower than they were last year at the same period, but again, there are timing differences in some of our expenditures that come in. One of the other things I kind of wanted to highlight in here is in the section financial monitoring and fiscal concerns or future concerns. At this point in time during the fiscal year, we are moving towards budgeting for fiscal year 2026. With that, I just came back from a conference today, and with that, some of the things that were pointed out that we will need to consider for the upcoming fiscal year is that there's the possibility that PHIP will be increasing, so the additional cost of that will be approximately $1,000 per employee. That's the district's responsibility. And then also there's an anticipated increase in the TRS rates as well. We don't anticipate much change in our units earned because we did not have as much of a significant loss in ADM as we have had in previous years. So those are just some things that we're thinking about and considering as we move into planning for fiscal year 2026. We go back to the snapshot analysis. The snapshot analysis is a general summary of the information. You'll see our actual revenues and expenditures compared to budget. You'll see our general fund balance compared to last year. We have approximately 5 months reserve. However, on the next slide, we'll show you the breakout of that. Some of those funds that are in our general fund are actually obligated to specific funding sources. And then you'll also see the comparison of our local revenues, which are slightly in line with where they were last year at the same time. So the snapshot of our general fund balance, you'll see that although we have a general fund balance of $116 million, you'll see that some of those funds are actually obligated to transportation, $6.7 million. We have funds that are specifically obligated to our OSR pre-K, our summer math, our state foundation, governor's turnaround. And so what that leaves is $101 million in our local general funds as discretionary, really. But also, like I stated earlier, those funds are actually obligated for budgeted expenditures through the end of the fiscal year. And that's our financial layout for December of 2024.
Are there any questions? Hearing none, thank you, Ms. Watkins.
All righty.
We are now at consent agenda. I will turn it over to our interim superintendent.
Madam President, I recommend for approval consent agenda items A through G.
Madam President, I move that we.
What? Hold on, Lisa.
Oh, I want Claudia to see the move word there. The move word.
The interim superintendent has made a recommendation. Is there a motion?
Yes. Madam President, I move that we approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the recommendation do so by a show of hands. All those, any opposed, but it looks unanimous. All right. The next item, consider for approval. This also will be turned over to the interim superintendent.
Thank you, Madam President. I recommend for approval personnel report certified personnel.
Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation on the certified personnel.
I second.
It has been motioned and second. All those in favor do so by a showing of hands. It is unanimous.
I recommend, Madam President, for board approval personnel report classified personnel, pulling item number 27.
All right. The superintendent has made a recommendation. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move approval of the personnel report, classified personnel, pulling item number 27 as recommended by the superintendent.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor do so by a showing of hands. It is unanimous.
Madam President, I recommend consider for approval item C, student grievance, to uphold the decision of the superintendent.
The superintendent has made a recommendation. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the recommendation of the superintendent.
Second.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor do so by showing of hands. It is unanimous. The Montgomery County Board of Education is always doing good work. Tonight, I will be presenting the committee assignments. The good work that we'll be doing as a board, being assigned to committees, will be family and community engagement, teacher retention and recruitment, board goals committee, finance and business administration committee, academics and academic programs committee, facility and building and grounds committee, and student discipline. Each board member has been given the purpose and the vision for the committees. You've been shared, well, I've sent an email as well. Is there any discussion about the committees? Thank you all. All right, thank you. Our next agenda item, oh, I'm sorry, it's under consider for approval. I'm so sorry. Y'all, I knew this too. I'm recommending that the board committee assignments be, I'm recommending that we approve the board committee assignments. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move that we accept the board committee assignments.
And I second them.
It has been motioned and seconded. All those in favor do so by showing of hands. All right, it is unanimous. And I would like to just say thank you, because that's where I was leading to, but thank you all. All right, at this time, before we will adjourn our regular board meeting to begin our board work session. All right, this meeting, well, the board work session is now being called to order on February 11th, 2025. All right. This meeting is now being called to order. There is a quorum still present. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam President, I move that we approve the agenda.
Second. It has been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor do so by showing of hands. It is unanimous. Our first item, our first item on the agenda is received as information. Mr. Glenn Slater with Volker for an update.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Wilson.
Good evening.
This is our February update for the building program. The active construction projects that are underway right now are the South Lawn Middle School, Park Crossing High School for the field house, and the relocation of Todd Road at the Percy Julian site. This is a rendering of the South Lawn Middle School. The project is currently about 65% complete, a little more. We've still got a small issue with the roofing that we're working through right now, but it should be coming to a close real soon. This is the rendering for the Park Crossing new high school athletic field house. Project is 80% complete. The roof is almost completed. They've got to do the trim out with the metals and such, and they've started painting on the inside and setting air conditioning equipment. This is the floor plan for the park crossings you've seen before. The Todd Road relocation is about 60% done. They've started putting stone on the roadway right now. They've got the relocation or the addition of waterworks piping along the boulevard there is going in right now, and the ALDOT permitting is almost complete. It's down to the last little thing that they wanted from us, which was a letter from another contractor that said that they'll be okay with us working on the project they're working on there too. We've got the bidding of Percy Julian is at the end of the month. We've got 6 general contractors that are pre-qualified for it. We've got a pre-bid meeting set for Thursday of this week. The Todd Road completion is anticipated toward the end of April and right when we should be starting the construction of the main school campus. This is several photos here of Carver 9th grade academy on a little video, if we can get that started.
Madam President?
Yes.
I ask a question.
Oh, yes, while we're waiting on the video.
Oh, I didn't know you were doing video.
Yeah, there's some videos,
Okay.
should
Saw
be,
question, comment,
of the
or
park
whatever.
crossing, kind of a fly-through of it, not park crossing, I'm sorry, Carver. Right back.
Dr. Keith, if you'd like to go ahead and ask your question.
As my understanding, that on the Todd Road, you know, you've told us before that we ran into complications that we weren't expecting. And what that did, that cost us, I want to say 400, or was it 200,000? The extra that we had to go ahead and pay out.
Well, the waterworks portion there.
Right, that part.
Is we're having to increase the water pipe size, one, to service the school, and also to help service the fire, water, and other
Right. And
issues down the road. And there's a portion of the property that we're adding this pipe to that does not belong to the school system. It belongs to the corporation that we bought the property from. And we're putting that pipe in across their frontage as well at this point. But, I mean,
Okay, well, then that negates what I was thinking. I just, you know, I've been somebody that just was raised, you know, it never hurts to ask. And to me, you know, when we formed these outside partnerships with the city, since it was unexpected for us to spend that much money, why we couldn't at least ask the city for a portion.
A partnership, I agree also with Todd Road.
Okay.
That it should be, you know, that the city should help with that, with the cost of that, because I mean,
Hope we do.
it's
Go me.
definitely better, we're leaving it better than what it was when we started.
Right. I think so too.
Thank you, Dr. Key.
have any other questions?
All right, thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Slater. Next up on the agenda is Mrs. Katrina Jackson, classwork update.
So we work with your special education department, K through 12, and really the main things that we're doing is universal screeners so that we can identify and help set up IEP goals. Then we're doing progress monitoring so that we can be compliant with FAPE, see how the students are responding to their overall intervention, and make sure that we're making that easy for teachers. Then having specially designed instruction targeted at their weakest skills so that we can help close learning gaps. Better? There we go. All right. And then we're making sure that we're also supporting the teachers, students, parents with a lot of data that is going to be important so that they can track their progress as far as being compliant as well. The key highlights. So last year when we came here, we had been working with the middle and high schools, and we'd seen some growth, and we just started with the elementary. This year so far, we have seen surprisingly fantastic results from those students. As we look at those students that took both fall and winter screening, we have seen really, when we look at the percentile rankings, that they've all moved in the right direction when we're looking at math. The second thing we look at that is we say, okay, where is this coming from? And the good news with this is that we're seeing it at all grade levels. So we're seeing that growth both in elementary, with middle school, and then with high school as well. So we're really proud of the work that they've done as we're closing those learning gaps. Because of that, we've also seen a really good mix of schools that are kind of having the highest level of growth. So it's great to see both middle, elementary, and high schools that are there that we're all responding. So we saw really great stuff with math. Now the next question is, what is that going to look like for ELA? And we have very similar results, where we're seeing all of those students move down the percentile rank in the right direction. Same as with the math scores, we're seeing the same stuff with elementary school, with middle school, and with high school. And same as we're seeing this at a mix of different schools. And so the work that those students are doing there with their teachers, their parents, and the special education department is working. Some of the biggest contributors to why we are seeing this growth, one is making sure that the students, parents, the IEP team as a whole all have the same data that they can work with. The students are using that data to help set their goals. Then making sure that we're having accountability by sending home frequent reports so that everybody is included on that progress or any changes that need to be made. A lot of hands-on support from the student achievement team, continued professional development so that we can keep sharpening our saw, and then a lot of support, direction, and guidance from the leadership team that is there as well. And one of the things that doesn't show up on the report is when we first started working with the MPS team, they had a really good, clear vision and direction for where they wanted to go. And now they are actually kind of the model that a lot of other districts are asking about. So the work that they've done and the dedication has actually been, people are saying, well, how are they getting this done? How are they moving forward? Like I said, one of the big pieces is these are reports. The one on the left is their universal screener. The one on the right is their progress monitoring report. These are both reports from the student view that both the students and the parents can see. Once again, the teachers and administration have the same results. So that way everybody's talking on the same page, and the students use this to help set their goals so that they are involved and that they are actually focused in on that growth over time. There's a lot more data in the packet that you have over utilization. I won't go through all of that unless you have specific questions. But we have been thrilled to work with your team. You have a really fantastic, strong leadership team in your special education department. They are doing a lot of very good work, and we're excited to see the growth from those students as well, and excited to keep working with you. Do you have any questions?
Are there any questions? Well, as the only SPED teacher up here, former SPED teacher, I would say I was looking at the growth. It speaks volumes, and I can only imagine how that helps not just the special education teacher, but the general ed teacher when they're working with that population. So kudos to you all. The growth is phenomenal, and I'm glad to see it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, guys.
All right, our next item up is Dr. King, Director of Federal Programs, Jobs Description.
Good evening, Madam President, Interim Superintendent Wilson, and all board members. What I would like to present for your consideration and also feedback is to add in the our current job description for the Director of Federal Programs a stipend of up to $10,000 that actually will be funded within our consolidated application to attract a candidate that has a lot of experience based upon our upcoming compliance reporting, also our policies updates that need to happen, specifically with our internal controls. And then part of our compliance monitoring will entail going back and looking at how we've expended funds previously. So it's important for someone to have that kind of expertise, understanding, going through that process, and then making sure all of staffs are trained. So our compliance monitor will be coming up in 26, 27. So this is an opportune time to attract. We have posted position, and we've had 2 failed searches, and it was due to salary that was on our salary schedule. And I do understand the concerns of board members and even the public in terms of having that, but we have much more in terms of how much federal funds we could currently depend on, and then we also have to have our processes in place, internal controls, to ensure that we maintain the federal funds that we currently have. And so we just want to make, I'm just presenting that at this time just for a work session. I'll be glad to take questions at this time, and it's just for the work session, and then to present to you in March potentially for approval of that job description. Yes.
Yes, Ms. Cloud.
Has the FY25 EGAP been approved for this year?
No, it hasn't been approved yet. We do have a
conditional approval?
Say it again.
Are you have conditional approval? Or is it
No,
not been-
we'll know tomorrow. We've been keeping in contact with the state, having our meetings, so we have our final meeting tomorrow. We did ask for conditional approval for Title 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we will have that final meeting tomorrow.
And your school improvement funds in accordance with your connection of resources with your ASIPs?
Right. Well, we're working on that piece. That was one of the feedback that we got last week. And so we've given the schools the feedback, and so they have to upload those into Cognia. And then you're absolutely right. So we are actually, we've made those adjustments. So that's the one that actually probably, we'll get feedback tomorrow to see if we met the threshold, met the recommended changes for those particular CSI budgets and this ASIPs. And so we'll know that also tomorrow.
So
Ms.
you can't draw
Cloud,
down NES twos?
Ms. Cloud, excuse me, if, just for a moment. We will get to that. I have you down for federal programs so we can get some of those questions answered. If you don't mind, we can double back to it and get some other input, if there's any input or questions for the job description for the federal programs director. All right. Thank you, Dr. King. Our next order of business is the MOU between the City of Montgomery and the Montgomery County Board of Education, Chief Forte. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Chad Anderson.
Somebody better looking than Chief Forte. So.
I want
Madam
to-
Superintendent,
I'm not
members
in
of the
it.
board. Chief Forte had a prior engagement, so I'm presenting that for him with security being one of our departments. This MOU is just for the renewal of the SROs for the schools, the school resource officers. It's just an update to a very old MOU that just, it was time to bring that forth and bring that to you. There's just in-kind services that the city provides with those SROs, so it's nothing that's coming out of pocket from the school's side of things.
Are there any questions?
And it's just for
Ms. Mitchell?
I just wondered, have there been any changes or any updates on the MOU?
No, ma'am, it's the same MOU from the last, just updated with dates and signature names and all. It's the same in-kind services for our middle schools and high schools.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Cloud?
He answered me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Our next agenda item will be the BTW decommissioned chapel. I have been assigned this one, so give me just a second. Thank you, Mrs. Charbonneau, for coming and presenting to us. I just want to reiterate some of the things that were pointed out. When a school is to be named, the board will provide an opportunity for comments and recommendations from the citizens, board members, and school personnel. The board will consider requests from school and community groups to name a portion of a building, a single building on a campus with multiple buildings, or a specific area on the campus for a person, provided the proposed name has special significance and/or the person has made an outstanding contribution to the school or the school system. The group making the request must agree to provide appropriate recognition such as plaques, portraits, or markers for the school that's it. All right, so I just wanted to reiterate that so it would be on the record. Any questions, concerns, or comments? All right,
I
the
have-
next, oh,
I
okay,
have a
go ahead,
question.
Ms. Cloud.
When will this, when will the naming of it begin and when will it end?
Attorney Powell, if you could speak on that for us a little bit, and how long it has to sit out and what that, as far as out in the public.
Madam President, board members, interim superintendent, according to the MPS policy, it does not specify a specific timeline that it has to sit out as far as allowing the public to provide comments or other recommendations for other names. So at this time, it is recommended that the board takes the request under advisement so that it can make a determination, vet the names that has been suggested, and to see if there will be other suggestions made, and at that time, the board can move forward with this decision.
Thank you, Attorney Powell. Ms. Cloud? Are you okay with, you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's for just a short period of time then.
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Dr. Coleman?
basically, couldn't we just set a deadline for any recommendations that might come in?
That would be for the board to decide. Is that what you want to do?
I put it out there for discussion, for consideration.
I move that we consider the naming of the school to be placed on our website for 30 days before we make a decision.
All right, there's a
I'll
motion.
second.
There's a motion and a second to keep the name, to place the information on the website for 30 days for the school naming. It has been motioned and second. Any discussion?
Now, can I discuss?
Yes, go
I
ahead.
think 30 days is too long. I want to get this done so that we can get it taken care of before the end of the year, before the end of the school year. I think 2 weeks is a gracious plenty.
We are not voting in a work session.
Correct.
I'm glad that was not my mistake this time. That's okay. But yes, thank you. Thank you, Attorney Powell. She was on it. But just to have the discussion, so we do have consideration for 30 days. Are there any other days? How long, because this is something we'll have to,
I suggest 2 weeks at the latest.
so 14 days?
14 days. 14 days.
All right. Okay, so we have 30 days and 14 days. We will let you know. We'll be in communication after I talk to Interim Superintendent Wilson over here. And she'll get to us and let us know what will be feasible. All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Chad Anderson, you are up again for facilities.
If you'll see the slideshow you have above you there, or in front of you, and you'll see the different departments that are underneath the operations umbrella there with athletics, CMP, logistics, maintenance, security, and transportation. I got it. Here we go. The physical plant of MPS is 50 active school sites with 73 buildings currently on those sites, 6 administrative active sites with 10 buildings, and you have 9 vacant sites with 16 vacant buildings and 7 surplus properties. The surplus properties are just properties that have no buildings on them, or the existing building was torn down. Over the course of approximately a year, we completed an zoning study with education planners from Atlanta. They were utilized with Volkert, and part of their demographic study that they used in the capital plan, they were an underlying subcontractor of Dr. Steve Salmon. You probably heard that name mentioned, that helped us with the demographics. Education planners completed their zoning study last spring and spent time in the district, traveling around to different areas, just kind of getting to learn things. Really did not try to sway them one way or the other. I wanted to give them the details and then offer us, just information, just basic information with things without any kind of personal or any kind of sway of anybody's thoughts or prerogatives on, our district or what may be. What the zoning studies are useful for is, for example, like guiding bus routes, school staffing, and capital investments. And we completed this understanding that it's not an exact science, and it's something that we needed to, reapproach on a yearly or maybe at the most 2-year basis to just give us the most up-to-date and accurate information, just to make sure our trends are following what we believe them to be. Going along the way as far as our attendance, our daily average attendance with items, and moving forward with that. The transportation department currently transports 10,000 students approximately daily, with 156 general ed routes and 39 special needs routes. We also have a few magnet hubs that are built into that as well, where at certain sites, with LAMP and the impact area being a large one that helps transport those, and Wilson being another. That helps us be able to provide transportation to the magnet programs, as well as our individual routes that are coordinated with proximity of the schools and the zones. The state allots 184 drivers for our district. We're currently 32 drivers short. We have 2 new drivers that are up for the February board meeting this week, and then 2 that are currently in training with the hopes to have them on the March board meeting. This is a typical thing for us where we're constantly training and hiring and all with the current state of transportation that's around the country. It's not just an MPS thing. It is a nationwide issue with bus transportation, hiring those. Our fleet details are 2,000. We have 4 2015 buses. We typically use those for spares, some athletic events around the district, and then we have 153 2018 buses. Those were purchased as I was coming into the district to really fulfill a need. That was something that the state had mandated that we do during their intervention, and gave us a large 2018 fleet. So we've been along the way trying to compensate too, so that when we get back to a point in 2028, we're not purchasing 153 buses again. So you see there, we purchased another 27 in 2023, and we have currently have 7 buses on order now, and we'll continue to do that along the way to make sure that when we get to that 2028 era, that we're not having to purchase that many buses to keep that 10-year cycle. That's what the state usually would like us to do, is be on a 10-year cycle. They don't mandate that. It is something that they give us a bus allotment each year along that 10 years, so that by the end of that cycle, you've either paid for that bus or you've put money aside to be able to pay for new buses at the end of those 10 years. So that's how the state helps us with those things. And then also along with that is your gas. We clock those miles and the gas that goes with it with loaded and unloaded miles to make sure that we account for that. And that's what the state reimburses us for. They do not reimburse us for just field trips or athletic events. Certain things, if it's scholastically done, we'll have grants and different things that will help with that along the way. But what the state provides, and you've probably seen that every year, is typically about 80% of the budget that goes into transportation. So the local district helps account for the other 20%. And then Traversa is in the process of being fully implemented. Traversa is an advanced routing system, and it works along with the GPSs that are installed on each one of our buses. What it does is it manages the routes that you have within the district. It's intelligent enough that it will know that what's the most efficient route for a certain trip, and it'll also make sure that you're not crossing over each other and duplicating routes with that. So it'll offer suggestions to the district as far as making the most efficient routes, so that you're not duplicating things and wasting money or gas with having extra routes with that. Also along with it goes a parent app, and that's what we're currently in the process of kind of getting fully on board. That parent app will allow parents to receive a notification of when their student is picked up, when their student is dropped off, along with a badge system that's on there that we currently have in the district. So the student will badge on, it will send a notification to the parent. When the student gets off the bus, it will badge, it will send a notification, and in that notification is a GPS location, so they'll know where their student was picked up and dropped off. Also, it'll send other notifications as well when a proximity alert comes into place, so it has a geofencing ability. So when you reach within a certain parameter, it'll send a notification to that parent that they will have, that the bus is on its way. It'll also let you know if there's a sub bus that's driving, and that happens quite frequently where we have to sub buses in and out with 32 short, and you have absences on a daily basis. You're going to have sub buses, so it'll also send notification to those parents as well. The key thing to all of that is making sure we have the accurate information that's in the student information system. So if the parents don't keep their phone numbers and things up to date, emails up to date, it will be difficult to be able to get the information from that. So we just want to encourage parents and the schools to really make sure that they're keeping the student information system up to date, so that we can provide the best system and the best information for the parents. Questions?
Are there any questions? Thank you, Mr. Anderson. All right, new business. Starting with Dr. Keith.
Okay. One is not new business. One, I just wanted to bring up new business that I brought up prior years, and it's prior times this year, and it's the need for supervisors, because we just have we continue to get more emergency certified teachers that you can have all the training in the world, and I appreciate that training. I think we put out for more training, we get more training, but are these teachers retaining it? And sometimes when you think of 400 emergency certified teachers that have yet to even go through an internship or anything like that, not a semester to see it, I think by having supervisors, I know I hated supervisors. I did, because I got written up I don't know how many times, but it made me the teacher I am today, because I think, it disciplines you. It makes you see that, you can't just sit behind a desk. You've got to engage your students. I'm actually teaching a class right now called College and Careers, and they've let me design the whole thing by myself. Well, my first entire 9 weeks is how to be a teacher. I'm moving to how to go into real estate. Then I'm actually moving how to run for office. This is not but you've got to engage these students. And the number one complaint that I'm seeing even in new teachers today, and I brought it up, one being my son, we throw them at a classroom of 30 students, and you've got from that spectrum your top A to your low spectrum to your autistic, and they have no idea what to expect, what to do, how to discipline, and then we put all this paperwork on them, and we don't have anybody here to say, hey, use more color here. I mean, I know I remember the first thing I was written up for was, and they wanted me to, Dr. Dewberry, Dr. God bless his soul, I don't know if he's even still living, but he wrote me up and he said, Lisa, you've got to put up on the board, you're going to do A, B, C, D, E, F. And if you only get to A, B, C, then the next day you move to D, E, and F. Teachers don't know that. They really don't. So and we talk about it, we run it over and over, and then we never really implement it. And I'm hoping with your committee things that you've designed that we're probably going to come out with that. The other thing that I've brought up to our superintendent, Wilson, and she's been very helpful so far with me. I think I want to bring up substitutions. We have the same substitute people that we've had, I think, since I was in the system. And I think we're looking at some people out of Kentucky. I wish they could be able to come speak to us, because we get videos. We get videos all the time. I'm not going to go into different videos, but you get videos, and 9 times out of 10, when we answer or help these people that are sending us videos, it's a substitute. And you find out that, some of our substitutes are doing things that you just don't do even as a teacher or a substitute. And the one thing that really kind of stood out when they had the AASB convention here in Montgomery back in, I guess, October, was that this program, I didn't even know who they were. It was just kind of a fluke that I started talking to them and asked. I was waiting for Miss Cloud to get there because she had something that I was waiting, and I just started talking to somebody. And this substitute program has very qualified teachers already there. They're trained. So I think I'll admit they're a little bit more money. They are a little bit more money, but I just think of how much education our kids are losing when we have teachers that, the number one of the things I think is one of the biggest problems of new principals is they come in with already established teachers. I love our teachers, but we have some teachers that actually take advantage of tenure, and they are absent constantly. When I see teacher grievances, teacher complaints, I don't care how many teachers I've met, the first question I ask them is, how many days have you missed? And I cannot remember even this year. So I did have one person say, ma'am, I've only missed 2, or I've only missed, 3 or 4 when I've had to go drive a bus. The rest of them, oh, my knee's killing me. Oh, my back, I've been in the hospital. I've got to go back too, ma'am. Okay, I'm telling you. I'll
And
hush,
then
but that's my new
the
business.
next one, you said character education, if you can keep it to.
Love, I forgot I said, okay,
Look,
I'm
you keep it.
ADD. I am bad. I'm not motivated. Character education. Okay, character education. You were there. We had the HYA come in, and I went to the one last Wednesday. We had a lady come in and talk to us about character education. We've got things going on in our system now. We've got, think about the multiplicity of our young people dying. Seriously, in our school system, we've got that across, just too many. And we're combating discipline with guns and all that kind of stuff. I know I've got 20 more seconds. We've just got to bring back character education. It's a start, and until we do, we're going to see things. I'm hearing about it today, and talked to Superintendent Wilson earlier today about a concern that I have right now. 2 of my students, they left early. I'm worried about their safety right now, and if we just got to bring it back.
Those are all valid points. Next, we have Dr. Brenda DeRamus Coleman.
Thank you, and I didn't know we were being timed, so I'm going to try to make it quick. A couple of weeks ago, I attended a special city council meeting where members from Jackson Hospital were asking the city to help bail them out of financial trouble. And a young lady from one of the nursing schools spoke so eloquently about how important Jackson Hospital is to her schooling. And, she talked about Trenum, she talked about Auburn, Alabama State, everywhere that we have nursing programs. And, I realized, my goodness, we have nursing students in our high schools as well. So when it comes to academics, saving our hospitals would be important, but it's also important because of the health and safety of the people in our community, especially our students and their parents. And so that I don't keep ad-libbing and go over time, I will read the rationale that I wrote, and it will be provided for the president and the secretary. And hopefully, I can speak with the communications director as well as the superintendent to see if we, as a board, cannot go on record somehow, even if it's just a resolution. But I think it's important that we become advocates for this community and help to make others aware of the significance and the relationships that we have with our hospitals. My new business item was called Advocating for Jackson Hospital. I wrote here, a hospital is more than just a building. Jackson Hospital has been a lifeline in our community, and the potential closure presents significant risks for us, not only the patients who are there, but the economic welfare of our district as well as our social well-being. Dr. Lee spoke to our attracting people to our community. If we end up with closures of hospitals, that could be a barrier to people wanting to come to our city. As a healthcare facility, Jackson has been a pillar in the community, and yes, it sits in my school district. But not only is it an economic stability concern, it is also an education concern. I also look at the closure of these hospitals as being a symptom of a deeper systemic barrier. And we do know that systemic barriers have helped to keep our city and our school district being seen in not such a great light. We want to make certain that we maintain facilities that help our professionals move forward. We have excellent doctors who are leaving that building because they are not certain of their future. So what I'm asking, if I can speak with our communications director and our superintendent and our leadership here, and that we as a board become known, vocal, visible advocates for saving our hospitals and our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Coleman. Our next new business is Pamela Portis. Yours was
Yes, ma'am, thank you. During our surveys with the superintendent search, we had a couple of focus groups that were with students. And one of the things that came up one too many times was that at the couple of local high schools, the students were not getting fed. They were saying that they ran out of food and they didn't get an opportunity to eat. Well, I sent that information to our interim superintendent, Ms. Wilson is checking on it. We have CMP out. I just want these students to hear us address some of their concerns, and not eating is a concern of ours. So she has had CMP go out and do some monitoring. They will keep monitoring to make sure that what we say we're doing in our schools, feeding our children, is what we're doing. And if there is a lack, that we know about it and can do something about it. So we asked our young people to keep reaching out, keep letting us know if there is a concern, not one that you've created, but it's one that you're concerned about, because we want you to be a voice too for your school.
Thank you, Ms. Portis. And Pamela Cloud, Federal Programs.
I pretty much got answered what I was talking about. We've got an interim right now, is that correct, Ms. Wilson? Interim, a contracted service employee. I just like to know her experience. I want to know, what her background is, because we're looking at that for a permanent, but we also needed to look at that for the interim, the contracted service.
We can provide, it's a contracted service, it's not an employee of MPS, but we can provide you information.
Please do. And he answered the question about the application, because you can't draw down funds without the ES2 first getting the approval for the application. So that's most important. You can't draw down federal funds without getting the application approved, and then you can start pulling down your ES2s. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cloud.
And let me finish saying this. Carryover money's coming out real soon. So we're not only getting that first initiative application approved, you're going to have carryover funds coming in like into this month, 1st of March at the latest. Correct. So you're going to have to get ready to do a revision. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Portis needs to make one further announcement.
Oh, just another announcement to the board members. You received our next steps, and it is a lot. I'm sorry, it is a lot. But if you'll look over it and just let us know if there are any problem areas so we can address them as soon as possible, because we need to make sure that Jade and her team is able to put this search information out publicly.
And we do thank you for your quick responses to us, so that would help us and HYA. Our next meeting date will be February 18th. We'll have a special call meeting at 5 o'clock in the training room number 1. The meeting date after that will be the regular board meeting, March 11, 2025 at 5 o'clock p.m. in training room number 1. And immediately following that regular board meeting will be the board's work session. This meeting is now adjourned.